Welcome to the Reidsville Chamber of Commerce News and Views. I'm your host, Diane Sawyer, President and CEO of the Reidsville Chamber. And today we have with us one of our ambassadors. So welcome to the Meet the Ambassador edition. We have with us Alicia Keller-Beard, who is the owner of Moving on Faith Transportation. Welcome to the show.
Hello and welcome.
Yeah, I'm so excited for you to be here. And I know that you are totally out of your comfort zone, but that is okay. And I am excited to have you here. You have been now an ambassador since the beginning of last year, I think, is when
Correct.
you wanted to come on board. And so then you've been able to get involved more at the end of the year. And you also are becoming a chamber champion, which is so exciting. So welcome to that group as well.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and tell me about where you grew up and how we kind of landed where we are, and tell me about your family and all the things you'd like to share.
So, I'm originally from the islands, Trinidad and Tobago, but I was raised in New York City. Went to school there, and about 16 years ago, I decided to move to North Carolina with my kids, and it was a beautiful thing. One of my kids adjusted and one did not. So, that was a struggle, that was a challenge, but we survived it. While in New York, I was a New York City bus operator. I worked for New York City Transit Authority for several years. And so when I moved here in North Carolina, it inspired me to provide transportation to people and the community. I just didn't know how it all works. And so after doing accounting, that's something that I do. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I do that. And I decided, I was like, all right, I want to provide transportation. I prayed and prayed and prayed about it. So I worked for a company here in town doing transportation. And after being there, I had a stroke. The Lord pretty much laid me down and said, okay, now is your time. That was a real struggle at that point. And I remember the Lord telling me, you wanted to start a transportation business, this is your time.
What year was that?
That was in 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in actually 2019 when the stroke happened. And I said, okay, I said, but how am I going to have a transportation business with no money? And just really praying. And I remember the Lord clearly telling me, be still and know that I'm God. And from that, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And that's where the name came from, Moving on Faith, because I was literally moving on faith to be able to get, everything done. Went out trying to purchase a vehicle, wasn't able to do it after several months. And then it was the fact that the Lord was like, hey, it's COVID. That's why you couldn't. So right after COVID, I had COVID really bad, spent 10 days in the hospital on a ventilator, oxygen for months later. Then I moved to Reidsville. I purchased my house here in Reidsville. And that's when I said, okay, we're going to do this. And that's where the business started. And so we had some challenges at home when the business started at the house. And we had some little pushback about the vehicles being in the neighborhood and stuff. But that only inspired me to be stronger, because I used that as not to hurt me, but to help me. And then we were able to get the location out on Freeway Drive. And once we got that location, we were exposed to so much. So it brought me back to what people used to hurt you, the Lord uses to bless you. And so that was a major blessing for us, being able to be exposed on Freeway Drive and move forward with things. Love people, love to help the community. Has been a big, I've been a big part of my church. And that's been just so amazing for me. And I am enjoying my life here in North Carolina. It's just been amazing.
So I think I'm going to roll all the way back to, I think that's probably one of the reasons that I'm so drawn to you. Um, you're from the islands, which is one of my favorite places to be. Like, we just cruised a few weeks ago, and we didn't make it that far, but that's one of the places I want to go. Um, and then New York City is one of my other all time favorites. And so, as most people know, we did a bus trip finally last December, which was cool to be able to take people. And I just got an email this week of somebody saying, "Are y'all going to do another trip?" And they really want to go. And so, it's exciting to see that through other people's eyes.
Hmm.
But I think that's one of the reasons that I'm so drawn to you is because you have all of that in you. And that's just some of my favorite things that make me so happy. But I love that you're here, and you're quite the example of people who end up here either from really far south in the States or really far north in
North.
the States and that choose North Carolina. And I love it here because our home is beautiful and we're so close to the mountains, so close to the ocean, halfway to the south, the really deep south, and halfway to the north. And I just think that all of that is. I really believe that God moves people in ways that are meant to be and sets things. And so your story is really just beginning in so many ways. I mean, I know your children have been involved with the company, and I know that you are just really excited and very gracious to be able to do. So tell us a little bit about that. Tell us about moving on faith, like how many vehicles you have, what kind of transportation you're offering, and how that works.
So we offer non-emergency medical transportation. Take people to doctor's appointments, therapy appointments. We transport for the hospitals, and we also offer charter trips that we really just got into lately. And it was, something that the Lord laid on my heart. Hey, let's try this. And right now we have a driver in South Carolina. And so we go all over. We go to South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, New York, wherever the client wants to go, we take them. And so we have in the fleet right now, believe it's 14 vehicles we have right
Wow.
now and growing. Um, and I want to say this when I first started, and I don't know if it's I'm not sure, but when I first started, the vehicles I purchased, it was all out of my pocket. It was something I did. So as of today, I am in no debt.
Wow.
And I'm just super proud and excited about that because
And you
that
should be
that was a challenge. And I think
in a
people,
really short amount of time.
yes, in 5 years, and it was only God. It was only Him that I was able to do this, and it's a tremendous blessing. Um, but as we move forward, I am changing out some vehicles and upgrading and getting in a better place and being able to purchase newer vehicles and move forward. You know, and I think that is a great thing. Um, we were able to get started, and now we're growing. And the vehicles, the bigger ones, are they're named after the Bible. They both name after the Bible, the New Testament and the Old Testament. So the New Testament are the minivans, and the Old Testaments are the bigger buses. And we wanted to be different. We didn't just want a number like you see vehicles going through and there's numbers. And so we just wanted to be different in that aspect.
Well, that is awesome. And, you know, how many, so if you have 14 in your fleet, how many drivers do you have right now?
So currently we have 9 drivers.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
how many employees total?
So 9, 14, 14. Yeah.
In 5 years.
Yeah.
Alicia, that's amazing. That is such a blessing. What an encouragement to other business owners and entrepreneurs. Because, it's funny that you mentioned COVID. People don't like to talk about it. Some people do. Some people it doesn't affect. But, post COVID, I don't care who you are, the world looks different.
Right.
And we, as the chamber, saw so many people, they talk about the great resignation, and they talk about people who were like, I don't want to do this job anymore. Or they saw their company, their bosses, the people, the corporation for who they really were. Because that was a time where I preached kindness and grace. I was like, if we could just all have a little more kindness and grace, we would be in a much better place.
Right.
And we saw the ugly side of some things and some people. And, people just realized, hey, life is precious and I don't want to work 80 hours a week anymore. Or I don't want to work away from my family anymore. And so everybody just started, changing jobs or starting businesses. And so we're here for it. Like, we're here for the entrepreneurs and for people to say, I want to make a difference. I want to make an impact. I want to be here for my family. But it's something when you tune in and listen to what the Lord's telling you to do, and He will bless you for that. And I think that's a great example of that for you. And so
Absolutely.
we have just been so overjoyed to be a part of your journey and to watch all of that happen. And, so you came on as an ambassador, and we're so excited to have you and have your involvement. And I think for you, you're in a place where you can look up, right? And see all the things around you and how to be a more active participant. And coming on board as a chamber champ, like, that is awesome. And we're so thankful for that. I can't wait to be able to support you all back the way that you, again and again, the way that you guys are supporting the community and just doing all of that. Where do you think, what would your advice be to somebody who's thinking about, oh, I want to do that, but I just don't think I can. I don't think the money's there. I don't think the plan is there. Like, what would you tell somebody?
I would tell them that, first of all, is it something that you're passionate about? Because that's where it starts. You have to be passionate about it, because if you enjoy what you do, you won't work a day in your life, and that's something from the start. Also, it is not easy, but you have to be persistent. You will go through struggles, you will go through pushbacks, you will go through failures, but get up and keep moving. Get up and dig your heel in and just keep on moving. Because for any business, it's hard when you first start, but you have to want to do what you're doing, and just continue to push, and you'll make it. You will do it.
Well, and there's such a great amount of support out there for entrepreneurs. The RCC Small Business Center, the county, the city, the chamber. And I know, as a lot of businesses do, you've faced your struggles. And you mentioned, there was some pushback and there was some challenges. And I think a lot of people struggle with where to find the information. And I'm so thrilled that the city has added on a position for people who will hold the hand of a small business owner and walk them through procedures. And that's new. I mean, that's happened in the last, I guess, 6 months. And so that's something that they've done, as our city manager is really trying to make sure that for the entire city, anybody who wants to have a business or open a business, like, we want Reidsville to grow.
Right.
How do we help our businesses and our business owners do what they need to do to make those things possible? So you're a great example of perseverance and a great example of somebody, before coming on the show, you said, oh, but I'm quiet. And I'm like, I know, I've watched you be quiet. I've observed you be quiet, and you speak when you feel like you have something I always listen when you speak because you have something profound to say. Because if you've been sitting and you've been listening, I know that you have something that matters that you want to say. And it's interesting to me that of all things, in the end, COVID is what is a time period that for so many people turned out to be such a positive thing. But you have suffered through a stroke, and then you basically had like the worst of COVID you could have without being someone who lost that battle.
Right.
And it's mind blowing to me because I don't think people realized how serious it really was, especially for people who had been through something else to do that. And you're in a business that, gosh, transportation, that was a big deal too because we needed medical transportation. But again, like, how do you get people on a bus and not, and them not give each other
Right.
whatever, like wearing masks and stuff. And it just happened to us. We took that bus trip to New York and somebody had the case of the flu. And when we got back, a bunch of people had the flu. And it's so, you take that risk anytime you get on a bus
Right.
or a plane or a train or any of those forms of transportation. So for all of those things to fit together and you come out on the other side with vehicles and employees and expanding and to be out of debt and to be at only 5 years, that is such a success story and so mind-blowing. I want to shout that from the rooftops because the more I sit here and let it, sometimes I have to be still, right, and be quiet. And we all know that that's not who I am on a day-to-day basis. And so the show makes me sit and listen and hear. And the impact of putting all that together in my brain while I'm sitting here talking to you, it's very, you are in a very small statistic for people who make it in that short amount of time and be where you are with your business. That is amazing. That is truly amazing.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
Tell us about what are your plans? Where do you see 5 years, 10 years from now?
Wow. So 5, 10 years from now, continuing to help the community. I do not want that to stop at all. Being a big part of the chamber because I want to be able to like get out of that quietness and be able to share like the things that I've been through, but not for me, for others. So others can see, yes, it is possible and you can do it. And if you need help, I'm here to help you. I'm here to support you, with your struggles, with your challenges. I want to be able to, I'm just so meek, introvert, so I want to be able to get out of that because I feel like I want to help others. That's just my biggest thing. Helping others, being able to serve the community. And even, I tell people, if someone call and they say, hey, we need to go to the doctor, but I only have this. Yes, we'll be there to take you. It's not about the money. Yes, we're in business to make money, but there are people out there that need help. And that's what we do. We help them, And even on the charter side of things, we're looking to bump that up. We've got one charter. We're looking at a second one and a 40 passenger. But 40 passenger one to be able to do winds where it's nice on the inside and lighting and on the other bus right now we have Wi-Fi and the bathroom and the plugs and everything on the inside that they need to have a good trip. So being able to grow that side as well, being able to take our community wherever they would like to go.
To see all of that come out and shine through, like, I've got some challenges for you coming. I am excited to see you come out and share that because there's so much goodness in what you're talking about and what's happening. So we we need to be sure that people know that there are people out there rooting for them and that they're, really capable of making those things happen. Because you're just such a great example of how to make things happen and persevere and really, truly, like you said, be persistent.
Mm-hmm.
Be persistent. I like that. That's my new motto. Be persistent, like persevere. Um, Tell me a little bit, we don't have much time left. Tell me a little bit about how um, how all of it came together after you purchased your first vehicle. Like, tell me about that next little piece. Like, how did that all start to just roll after the purchase of the first vehicle?
After the first one, it was about 2 or 3 weeks later, the second one came about. Um, and our church was our biggest supporter then, taking them, on mission trips and to the airport and, and going to camp and stuff like that. So that's how that second one came about. And then the third one, which we were there for a while, I had a friend that I was helping to start her business in High Point, and she decided that, Alicia, I can't do this. I'm not strong like you. And I was like, yes, you are. You can do it. You can do it. I helped her. We worked on a business plan. We worked on, just getting things together, insurance and everything else, and making sure everything was in line to get started. And she was like, I just can't do it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you my van as a blessing. And right there, I was like, okay, God, I see you all in this. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I am so excited to have had you on the show today to hear all of these pieces in a quiet space where I could really listen and appreciate what you have done and what He has done to move all of these things on faith. And it's just really, truly a blessing. We don't have a lot of time left. Is there anything that you'd like to share about your life, about the business, about things that maybe the community should know, other business owners should know?
I would say we love y'all, and we're just so thankful for, being a part of Reidsville. We're just so thankful that we can help people in need. And we're here. Come and see us if there's anything we can do to help support you, to help grow your business, to help being a part of the county and doing what we can to support. We're here to do it.
So tell us where to find you. Where's your website, your address,
Okay.
how they can contact you?
Okay. So we're at 1449 Freeway Drive in Reidsville. And we're hours are 8 a.m. To 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And on Saturdays, we're open from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And our website is www.movingonfaithtransportation.com. And our phone number is 336-589-9732. You can call us, you can text us, and you can reach us at movingonfaithtransportation@gmail.com.
Awesome. We're so excited for you and so looking forward to seeing how you all continue to be successful in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on the show. Thank you for being an ambassador and a chamber champ and a member and just a part of the community.
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
All right, folks, that is it for today's show. As always, you can find us in the heart of downtown Reidsville at 140 South Scale Street or on our website at www.reidsvillechamber.org or all of our social media channels. And stay tuned, and we'll see you soon.